Q, what's our next question?
Thanks, Ed. Our next question here is, how do you balance the use of AI tools with the human touch to ensure content remains engaging and authentic?
Constantly go back and forth with it. So if you're writing something and let's say we're just going to say ChatGPT just to keep it simple, so we all know. So if you're using ChatGPT and it spits something out and it doesn't sound like you, keep refining. Say words that you don't like in it, go back through, make it sound like you. So for me, I'm very no nonsense. I swear a lot. If you work with me, you know that. Ed has learned that a lot. And I'm trying really hard not to swear, Ed. I love you. So if I'm writing something, I'm very no nonsense. I know what my clients' tones, how their brands are. I make sure that everything is specific to their brands. So I'm constantly rewriting and rewriting and rewriting. And so when I'm prompting things, no, this isn't the right word, or this is not the right word. I like this phrase better. Let's incorporate this, or just constantly going back until it sounds exactly how I would want it to sound. So it's all about the prompts, and it's just like soundboarding, going back and forth, and making sure that you're saying, I like these words, or I like this word, or can we incorporate something like this? And it might not be perfect. It might not be exactly what you want, but telling it how you sound and how you feel, it will incorporate those words.
You could actually train your AI. ChatGPT is getting really good at it, where you can upload what you previously written or upload a transcript on how you talk, and it will do a generally good job. What I like to do is throw in like personal stories, because ChatGPT can't read your mind. So if you're writing something and a point comes up, you can say, and in my experience, da 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 da, and go from there. So you start personalizing and start adding all these touches. I love what you're saying. What are some other ways that you think, like, for example, like Gwen, do you ever think that maybe when we're using AI, we should try and mimic somebody else's style? Like, I've tried this before, like write an article about this using these points, and they're the points that I want, but write it like a best-selling author, or write it like someone from Harvard Business Review or Simon Sinek, because I'm a big fan. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. If you emulate somebody else, absolutely. But then also make sure to put your spin on it so that it's authentic to you. Don't forget about your authenticity, because if it's coming from you, it should be coming from you. But you can put other people's spin on it. I mean, feel free to do that. Absolutely. But make sure that you're authentic to yourself too. Don't forget about yourself. You are the most important person.
This begs a question then. Let's go back for just a moment, because you keep using the word authentic to yourself. How do founders actually figure that out? How do I know if I'm being authentic to myself?
That's a good question. So I always ask the question, this is one of the very first questions I ask founders. Why did you start your business? What made you start your business? What was the problem? What was the pain? What was the emotion that made you start this business? Because the majority of founders did not start this business for money, because starting a business is not easy. It's not about money. It may be in the future, but it's not going to start out in money. There is a reason. What is that reason? So that's where it all starts from. And the more that you start talking about it, the more that you vocalize it, you learn the why. And that's where the authenticity comes from. Because usually there's personal stories, there's professional stories, there's all kinds of things that intertwine to it. Yes, there might be an exit strategy eventually, but in the very beginning, there's always a bunch of emotional stuff. And that's where the authenticity comes from.
You're talking about doing a certain degree of self-exploration, having self-awareness. That's the secret. If you're going to want to be authentic with others, you got to be authentic to yourself, or you have to know who you are so you can manage that.
Absolutely. So important, because if you don't know yourself, how are others going to get to know you? Why would people invest in you? Both investors and the audience, and people want to buy your product or service. Why would they invest anything in you if you aren't willing to invest in yourself?
That's a great, good point. If you're not willing to invest in yourself, I'm pretty sure for those founders who are going to be watching this and they're looking to raise investment, I think an investor, and I can speak from that side of the table, an investor will know if you spent the time and you're being true to yourself. A lot of times investors will actually give you what I affectionately refer to as the shit test. Happens a lot in dating, but the investor will start to push and prod you and see if he can knock you off your convictions. How much of a spine do you have, versus are you just saying, okay, whatever you say, I just want your money? That's a major flag. So I think it goes both ways. If you're raising money or you're trying to sell the product, authenticity, vulnerability, that sounds good.